Um, It is it is 5:06 p.m. and the chair calls this meeting to order. If you could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Dr. Head, has the meeting been properly posted and certified?
Yes, I certify it was posted in accordance with the law.
Perfect. Do we have any public comments, Desiree?
Yes, ma'am, we do. I'd like to call Dr. John Bergdorf, please.
Good evening. I am Dr. John Bergdorf, President of the American Federation of Teachers at Lone Star College. Thank you for this opportunity to speak with you again. As of this very meeting, I have been speaking to the Board of Trustees on behalf of our union for 11 years. My words have always reflected priorities that our members have wanted me to address, but the words have always been my own. Tonight will be the first time in 11 years that I will be speaking some words that I have been specifically told to say. At our most recent meeting on October 1st, the executive board of AFT Lone Star College, which is the governing board for our union, passed a resolution asking me to make a specific statement on their behalf tonight. And I will be reading that statement in just a minute. My topic is not on tonight's agenda, but relates to your next meeting. On Thursday, October 20, you will vote to set the property tax rate for 2023 for properties in our district. The proposed rate will be unchanged from the current year and has been kept the same for many years. The union supports this rate. AFT's concerns arise from the high bar required to approve this rate and the potential negative consequences if for any reason it is not approved. Due to changes in the state tax code enacted in 2019, passing a tax rate requires more than simply getting the approval of a majority of a quorum. Instead, passage requires yes votes from 60% of the seats on the board. With a 9-person board, approval of a tax rate at Lone Star College requires 6 yes votes, even though we currently only have 8 members. Without 6 votes, the tax rate would revert automatically to a no new revenue rate that would bring in exactly the revenue the college received for the current year. Because college costs are rising, including the costs of much needed compensation increases for all employees, failure to pass the recommended tax rate would represent a shortfall of $45 million in the budget this board has already approved for the fiscal year we are now in, and which the college is already operating on. $45 million represents 10% of the college's operating budget for the year. The lost revenue over the next 5 years is estimated at $87 million. If the tax rate proposal fails to get 8 votes, significant and far-reaching cuts would need to be made in the current year's budget. It would be ultimately up to you on the board to make the hard decisions about where those cuts would be made. Wherever they are made, cuts of this magnitude would undoubtedly be hurtful both to the employees we as a union represent and ultimately to the students we all serve. The margin of error on the vote is small, making attendance at the next meeting especially critical. It is because of all of these stakes are so high that the executive board of my union directed me to read the following statement to you tonight. And so this is a quote. Given the critical priority to fully fund the fiscal year 2023 budget of Lone Star College in order to serve the growing educational needs of the citizens of Harris, Montgomery, and San Jacinto counties, to promote the ongoing economic development of the greater Houston area, and to ensure the financial stability of the over 6,000 employees who work tirelessly for the success of Lone Star College students, the executive board of the American Federation of Teachers, Lone Star College, formally and respectfully urges the Board of Trustees of Lone Star College to approve the proposed tax rate for 2023 of $0.1078 per $100 property valuation at the special meeting set for Thursday, October 20. End of quotation. Concluding in my own words, I want to express my appreciation for the level of interest and engagement the Board of Trustees always demonstrates. And I know that your greatest concern and commitment is for the well-being of our college and its students. Coming together to pass a tax rate that supports the budget you have adopted will be a strong affirmation of that concern and commitment. Thank you so much for your kind attention.
Thank you, sir. Desiree?
Yes, ma'am. I'd like to call Susan Scruggs, please.
Good evening, Board and Chancellor and others that are taking part in this meeting. I wanted to ask you a couple of questions that I've not been able to find the answer to. One of them is, how many new homes are now in Lone Star College's area as compared to last year before you redistrict? That's a question that I haven't been able to find out. And what is your tax base increase as a result of these new homes that you have brought into your area? That's the first question. Secondly, where in your budget does it show the tuitions and fees from independent school districts where the students in high school are taking college level classes and you're receiving revenues from that? I'm just wondering, I haven't been able to see that in your budget. The next one is, can you please provide me with a meeting date and the minutes where you approved the 1% homestead exemption for 2023? And I cannot locate those minutes or that meeting where you approved that. So thank you if I could get that information. I just wanted to talk also about your discussion and presentation last month about the homestead exemption causing only an average family to receive $72 a year savings, where it would cost Lone Star College much more money. I wanted to find out how you arrived at the average home price of $285,000. My research came up with an average home price in Montgomery County of $359,000. And in order to get to the $285,000 average home price that y'all arrived at, the Harris County average price of a home would have to be $211,000. My research on home prices in Harris County came up with an average home price of $317,000. So I'd just like to know where the data is and to view the data on where you came up with that average home price, please. So let's take your figure of $285,000 as your home price, and $72 a year is the average savings for a family that is paying Lone Star taxes. It doesn't sound like much to you. I understand $72 a year doesn't sound like a lot to you. I think it's probably much more, and a couple of $100 because of your home price being too low. However, we're going to use your figures. So that's $6 a month. Okay, that doesn't sound like a lot to us, but there's many people in the county that $6 a month could mean a lot. For instance, I brought it would be 3 gallons of milk purchased from Aldi's. Now that may not sound like a lot to y'all. You may be, above that social echelon, but there's a lot of people in the county who are suffering right now. And 3 gallons of extra milk a month for their children would make a big difference. The other thing is eggs. You can get them $1 a dozen at Aldi's. That's 6 dozen extra eggs a month that they could buy. Now, again, that's over 2 eggs a day per family. So I understand that y'all have kind of scoffed at that amount, and I'm asking you not to scoff at it, not to minimize it. There are families in the county that are suffering, and I know of some. Maybe you should get out in the county and talk to some of these people that are not on your echelon and find out how they're suffering. So I'm asking you if you would return more of the people's money to them. Up that to 19%, vote on it, get it on the agenda. And I think with all the extra revenues you have from all the new developments and the 35% increase in tax assessments, along with all your new area of redistricting, it looks like you have the money to fund that. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak. Appreciate it.
Thank you, ma'am. And we'll have Jennifer follow up with you in regards to those questions. Desiree?
Yes, ma'am. We have one final commenter, Luis Pedraza, please.
Thank you. And I have to apologize for my attire. I didn't know it was more formal, but that's okay. I like to be in shorts. It's more comfortable. I too actually want to talk about inflation and the new homes and just the rate. My rate went up the legal limit. So I'm paying more taxes because my appraisal went up. So, and then new homes redistricting. I just think there's a lot of money there that's extra. I understand the first gentleman's point. We don't want to go below what you received last year, but you don't, I mean, what are you going to do with that overage? Because there is an overage. And I too want to see the data. I haven't been able to find exactly the numbers. So I am interested also in Desiree's data. But my main point is inflation. And I think you need to be cognizant of the fact that people do need that money. And even though it seems like a little bit of money, it all adds on into itself. I go out and I talk to neighbors quite a bit. I am a precinct chair for my district, and I go out regularly, and inflation is definitely a problem. And many people have just trimmed back. They just aren't doing the things they used to do, and that seems okay. But there are some people that have done more than trim back, especially if you're on a retirement budget. I myself am retired. But on the same token, I do believe in education. I don't say, don't defund these people, but what I am saying is be reasonable about it. So that's really all I have.
No, thank you.
And next time I'll wear pants.
You're perfectly fine. You're here. I'll have Jennifer reach out to you, sir. Desiree, do we have any more?
That concludes the comments.
Okay, thank you. Our next item is the introduction special guest recognitions. Do we have?
You want to
Chancellor
introduce, John? So we have John Hopkins filling in tonight for Melissa Mahalik, our attorney from, I was going to go Bracewell and Thompson, from Thompson and Horton. So welcome, John. And those of you who came up on 45 know that some of us came out of Houston today, so thank you for being here on time. I forget sometimes what it's like coming out of Houston. I came out of it myself today. It was a big wreck on Hardy Toll Road in 45. We also have Andrew Chrisman from Community Impact. Andrew, I saw you right there. Thank you. So is that it? Okay.
Okay, thank you. Our next item is workshop.
No workshop.
Do we have a presentation?
Yeah.
Yes.
We're doing
We're here. Workshop. I don't know.
okay. We're not doing the workshop. We're going straight into the,
Okay.
there's no report. So faculty senate president. Who's talking tonight? Brandy? You want to make sure you tell them who you are and where you're housed.
Absolutely. My name is Brandy Ford. I'm the president of Faculty Senate for Lone Star College, Houston North, and I'm representing my colleagues over here for the other 7 campuses at Lone Star College. Thank you, Madam Chair, trustees, and administrators. for the opportunity to share what Lone Star College does to address basic needs and securities on campus and within our community. As I said, I'm Brandy M. Ford, Faculty Senate President at Lone Star College, Houston North, and will present on behalf of the Faculty Senate Presidents. Maslow's hierarchy of needs is a theory by Abraham Maslow, which puts forward that people are motivated by 5 basic categories of needs: physiological, safety, love, esteem, and self-actualization. In this theory, higher needs in the hierarchy begin to emerge when people feel they have sufficiently satisfied the previous need. Therefore, in order for the students to learn, they must have their basic needs met, feel safe, and experience a sense of belonging. According to a recent national survey conducted by the Hope Center for College, Community, and Justice, however, 20% of students parent while they're in college. 59% live with a disability or other medical condition, and over 20% are 26 years or older. And our own Lone Star College data shows that overall, roughly a quarter of our students are 26 years or older. This is further illustrated when we look at Lone Star College campuses individually. Additionally, Lone Star College Houston North conducted a student survey during spring 2022 to learn more about these groups of students enrolled at their campus. They learned that 10% of respondents worked less than 20 hours per week, 23% of respondents worked 20 to 39 hours per week, and a whopping 46% of respondents worked 40 or more hours per week. Furthermore, 40% of those respondents indicated that they care for children or other family members or friends. These numbers further evidence that our students are our community. They work, they raise families, they pay taxes, and they make sacrifices to pursue their education. Although students are working and raising families while in school, they need assistance. Financial aid offsets tuition and fees, but it does not address basic needs. Again, the Hope Center for College, Community, and Justice found that 3 in 5 students experience basic needs and security while in college. Nearly half of students experience some form of housing insecurity. Students are experiencing mental health challenges at higher rates than ever, and basic needs and mental health are tightly connected. As a result, the dedicated faculty, staff, and administrators try to honor students' sacrifices to come to school by bridging the gap and addressing basic needs and securities. This is done through endless volunteerism, donations of food, personal hygiene, and household items, and the donation of funds. Let's look at this dedication in action. Lone Star College created an online repository for students and community members to address basic needs and securities. This repository is called Care for Completion. Students and community members alike can click on a service and be connected to those services at each campus, as well as some that are provided by local agencies. Services include food, clothing, employment and career, mental health, wellness, and substance abuse, LSC academic support, housing, finances, and legal, childcare for students and parents, and off-campus resources. Additionally, Lone Star College embeds social workers and counselors into each campus through communities and schools to assist students in crisis. These services and resources provided are valuable to the well-being of students, and faculty and staff rely on them. They include emergency need, such as food, shelter, and clothing, supportive guidance, such as family and personal concerns, crisis intervention with grief and trauma, and this has increased significantly since the onset of COVID. Strategies for managing stress, anxiety, and depression, mental health and community resource referrals, social and life skills support, positive self-image and self-worth, relationship skills training, academic support and counseling, as well as goal setting. Furthermore, Lone Star College Police Department works to ensure that our teaching and learning environment is safe and secure from internal and external threats. They provide valuable services to all students, employees, and community members on each campus with uniformed patrol, criminal investigations, threat mitigation, safety education, safety escorts, and motorist assistance. Additionally, I personally have seen many of these officers take a personal interest in the success of our students by building relationships, making donations to many of the campus food pantries. Thank you, officers, for protecting and for caring for us. The mission of Lone Star College Foundation is to change lives through student scholarships and quality educational programs achieved by excellence in relationship building, fundraising, and investment management. By providing scholarships, supporting programs, and building communities, more than 20,000 students have been positively impacted with over $18.6 million awarded in scholarships and $8.5 million in program support since the foundation's inception in 1991. Additionally, the good work of Lone Star College Foundation enables faculty senates across the system to award textbook scholarships and emergency aid to students in need. We would like to thank all of our donors for enabling us to make a difference with students, their families, and the community. This has been particularly important during Hurricane Harvey, during COVID, and during the ice storm. In addition to the system-wide efforts to address basic needs and securities, each campus has initiatives in place to address the needs of students within their unique communities that they serve. Lone Star College Sci-Fair created the Empowerment Center for students. They recognize that not every student question or need can be addressed in the classroom. Additionally, they are made of faculty, staff, and administrator volunteers who believe in the worth of every student and the value of every question. Furthermore, they provide food for thought food pantry, the career closet with a range of sizes and styles and clothes and shoes for students needing a great outfit, and resources such as counseling professionals to address personal needs. LSC Houston North has 4 locations across the north and northwest side of the city of Houston. As a result, each location has a food pantry stocked with food, household, and personal hygiene items purchased from monetary donations or stocked by internal and external drives. Currently, Lone Star College's Office of Technology Support is conducting a food drive that will not only benefit Lone Star College Houston North, but will benefit 2 other campuses. Thank you, LSC OTS, for supporting our students and their families. Additionally, there are 2 food distribution events every month cycling through the 4 locations. One in particular with Houston Food Bank is for students, and the other is a partnership with B. Wells Acres Homes, MD Anderson, and Houston Food Bank, and it is for the community. The first distribution of the semester was last week. It served 119 cars and accounts for 514 household members. Furthermore, the college president established Panther Path, an emergency fund to assist students with housing and utilities. And Faculty Senate has its textbook emergency fund funded by internal and external donors to assist with textbook purchases. Additionally, LSC OTS has its LSC Tech Connect to check out laptops, tablets, and other technology provided by CARES established during the pandemic. These efforts are in full effect during Panther Prep, a pre-term event that happens twice a semester to help students academically and non-academically prepare for class and career. Finally, all full-time faculty serve as mentors to all first-time in college students to help them navigate the campus, their college experience, and increase their sense of belonging. Also, the campus has a faculty-led committee made of staff, faculty, and administrators who facilitate many needs assessments and address wraparound services to meet students' basic needs. This committee most recently addressed parenting and working students. Lone Star College Kingwood does a great job addressing students' basic needs through their student life programming. They plan events, clubs and organizations, and leadership development and initiatives that aim to build character, integrity, fellowship, and networking for their students. Some of these programs include the Lone Star College Kingwood Men's Center, who partners with Boys to Men Houston and Mankind Project of Houston to provide resources for our male students. The Lone Star College Kingwood Women's Center, who partners with Montgomery County Women's Center to provide resources for female students, and Family Time Crisis Center to provide food and shelter for victims of domestic violence. Furthermore, Bridge Over Troubled Waters is coming to the campus this semester to speak on domestic violence issues. Unfortunately, this is a reality for our students and their families. Additionally, Humble Area Assisted Ministry conducts on-campus food distribution events twice a month. And finally, Kingwood Women's Club donates to student scholarships. Also, Lone Star College Montgomery has a food pantry to help meet the needs of all members of their community on and off campus with dignity and respect. Additionally, they have safe places for special student populations. For example, all students, staff, and faculty deserve to learn and work in an environment that is supportive and friendly, regardless of one's sexual orientation or gender identity or expression. Therefore, the campus has committed a team of Mavericks working on developing and implementing the Mavericks Safe Zone Ally Project, with the goal of educating and training students, faculty, and staff to create safe spaces for LGBTQ+ people. The Safe Zone Ally Training Program will ensure that each trained member becomes an ally and feels comfortable working with LGBTQ+ individuals before they do so. Allies will be committed to working toward providing a safe, confidential support network for members of the community and will help identify safe spaces on campus. Another example is Continuum, a student organization for the LGBTQIA community, the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, questioning, asexual, and their allies. It is guided by 3 important missions: foster a supportive community for individuals who identify as a member of the community or as an ally, provide educational programming for LSC Montgomery regarding issues prevalent within the community, and advocate for LGBTQIA community at Lone Star College Montgomery. They hold weekly meetings and provide a space for building community and planning programs to help celebrate everyone's identities and supporting one another. Lone Star College North Harris has an external partnership with Houston Food Bank. As a result, faculty and staff come together once a month in order to distribute food to students and their local community. Additionally, there is an internal partnership between the Cat 5 covered food pantry and the library that has resulted in a number of initiatives. One is providing free grab-and-go snacks for students. Another is acting as a pickup location for pre-packaged grocery bags for students who cannot make it to the food pantry during their opening hours. And the third is to stock restrooms with free menstrual products. Meanwhile, the Student Resource Center is a one-stop department that addresses students' needs. Within this space, they will have a lactation room, a room which a parenting student can have privacy to pump and store their breast milk, a bare resource shop with diapers, clothing, books, and toys, a career closet, and a food pantry with stations that include a meal station with a microwave, kettle, toaster, Keurig, and snacks, a school supplies station with a notebook, pens, binders, etc., and a toiletries station for personal hygiene. This space was made possible by faculty and student services. Meanwhile, LSC Online is brand new, and they are still in the process of creating and developing a variety of programs that can function in an online world. Finding ways to support students outside the classroom is a little trickier than on a physical campus. Nonetheless, they are finding ways to help students. They recently had their first ever student life event, and one student reported that the event was live and it was on both YouTube and Facebook. It was a chance to ask questions that you had. LSC Online wants to provide opportunities and spread your wings. They wanted to know what they could do to help for great success. It was very interactive and questions were asked. They also promoted their scholarship program and shared instructions with students on how to apply. But probably the coolest and most helpful thing that they have done so far is create a student success page for their online courses that share information about how to get necessary resources for success using tiles with images as well as language. The Den at LSC Tomball is a student-run, staff-supported food and supplies pantry that was developed to support students with non-academic needs. The Den is stocked with canned goods, pre-packaged meals, baby products, school supplies, and personal hygiene items. The purpose of the Den is to minimize hunger and reduce financial worries among the campus community by providing free food and additional resources. Lone Star College Tomball also hosts the Community Food Fair, which is in partnership with Houston Food Bank and occurs a few times a semester. And it houses the SWAT's Closet, Strong Women Achieving Total Success, which was established to support students who have a need for professional attire. Last week, they held the Tomball Bake Sale for student scholarships. Students, staff, and faculty came together to both donate baked goods and raise money for their Tomball Student Scholarship Fund. Each item was sold for $1 and over $1,500 was raised in fall 2019. Tomball community members judged those who entered the bake sale contest. Finally, staff, faculty, and administrators at LSC Tomball donate to support their student scholarships every year. LSC University Park has Leo's Shelf. It is an on-site, free of charge resource designed to address food insecurity for their campus community. Leo's Shelf is managed by faculty and staff volunteers, and it's stocked by donations. They offer free grab-and-go meals and snacks, as well as non-perishable pantry items and personal hygiene products. As mentioned earlier, financial aid offsets tuition and fees, and funds paid into Lone Star College budget are prohibited from being used to address basic needs and securities. No one will see line items addressing basic needs and securities for students, their families, or for our community. Therefore, it is important to maintain our budget so the services and resources that can be funded continue to be funded. Another strategy that can directly help address student basic needs and securities is for staff, faculty, and administrators to consider making food, household, or personal hygiene item donations to their local campus pantry, or making a tax-deductible financial contribution to the employee giving campaign. The campaign will continue through October 14th, so there's still time, okay? 100% of the funds donated go directly to students in the form of scholarship and emergency aid. None of the funds go to the administration of Lone Star College Foundation or to the maintenance of these scholarships and aid programs. Again, thank you for this opportunity to share, and thank you for all that you do for our students, their families, and our community.
Thank you so much. Thank you for all that you do for our students and our faculty. Thank you very much. Those are really good resources that you provide to our students and to the faculty. Thank you so much. And if there's anything that you need from us, please let us know, especially the October 14th, what was it? October 15 employee giving campaign? Yes.
However, foundation.
Oh, you can, yes.
However, foundation is always accepting donations.
Thank you, ma'am, so much. Thank you. Colleagues, would you like to comment? Yes. Trustee
Yes, ma'am.
Sullivan.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Who will be the Senate faculty president for the online college? We have one assigned to each current college. Okay, so you're in place to represent the online college. Okay, good. Good, good. Thank
She
you.
was formerly over at North Harris, and then she was chosen to be online. And for some reason, she wanted to be the faculty senate for online also. No, it's a good job.
Good, thank you.
Madam Chair, Madam
Trustee-
Chair, Trustee Pierce. Okay, do we have an online college or do we have an online campus? I keep getting confused. Do we have an online college? Or is it a campus? Point of clarification, somebody?
You're inquiring whether it's an actual online campus
Or is it a college? I don't remember voting for an online college. That's why I'm asking. Is it an online campus or is it an online college? Which is it? Those two things are different.
It's a campus.
Okay, thank you.
Everything's a campus. Right,
Okay, so online is a campus. That's what you're telling me.
right.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Trustee Pierce. No further questions or comments. Let's move to the item of approving the minutes of the September 8th workshop and the regular meeting and the September 20th special meeting. So may I have a motion and a second to adopt the September 8th regular meeting and the September 20th special meeting?
Motion.
Okay, may I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The item passes. Thank you. Special reports and announcements. You want to do that? I want to do that at the end. Yeah, I'll do that at the end.
No other announcements.
Okay, Chancellor, do we have any announcements?
No.
No, okay. Faculty Senate Presidents, we did your presentation. Board members, any announcements or comments?
I do. This is Trustee
Trustee
Ayers
King.
Wilson. Oh, sorry.
Okay, I hear someone, was it
It was
Trustee
Trustee Wilson.
Trustee Wilson? Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I just appreciate the community coming out as taxpayers and their concern, and I have the same concerns as they do, and I just want them to know that I hear you, and I hear your concerns, and I do question and ask for information. And I really just, Jennifer, I hope you can get them the information before the next meeting that we have, so they can have a clear mind and have a clear heart. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Wilson. Trustee Kane?
Thank you. I always appreciate the news articles that Mr. Van Rysdam shares with the Board of Trustees. Very informative. There was an article from the October 4th edition of The Defender, which is an African-American weekly newspaper. Let me just read you the important statement that came from that article. I'm quoting now, out of all the community colleges in the Houston area, Lone Star College is the only one to agree to participate in the full disparity study underwritten by Harris County. We applaud this institution. A disparity study looks at spending with minority and women-owned businesses. And I know the efforts that Dr. Head and his administration make with regard to the interactions with the business community to make sure that all of those issues that arise with historically underrepresented businesses are addressed. And so I really do appreciate the fact that the Defender weekly newspaper honored Lone Star and recognized the efforts that are being made here. Much appreciated.
Thank you,
Uh,
trustee.
Yes, this is trustee Pierce. I too would like to say to the community and to people who come out, make public comments, that we do hear you. And I hear, and I do listen. So when we have public comments, that means a lot to me. That tells me that people are looking and that they're listening to what the Board of Trustees, what we're doing and what we're about. I just wanted to give those people that come out, it's hard to do, but I'd like to give anybody who makes a public comment a shout out. That's hard to do unless you're like me. You know, I don't mind speaking anywhere in public. So just a shout out to those taxpayers in Montgomery County. I hear you and I'm listening.
Thank you, trustee Pierce. Trustee Sullivan.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. And thank you, Chair. I need a few minutes for my comments tonight, so I'll ask my colleagues to bear with me because I have a lot that I want to say. So I'll start by saying as background and justification for my comments so it complies with the agenda, I refer to our board retreat, which was held on July 29th. One topic was to reinforce the definition of a trustee's role, as well as the chancellor and staff roles. In short, the board hires the chancellor, sets policy, approves a budget, and holds the chancellor accountable to carry it out. The chancellor hires, builds, and manages his team. It is not the role of trustees to manage the system, and specifically not to micromanage the chancellor or the operations of the system. Even with this all said, there was pushback from a couple of trustees about how they view their roles. They said they are, quote, elected officials, have, quote, fiduciary responsibilities to taxpayers, et cetera. Well, all trustees are elected officials. All trustees have fiduciary responsibilities to taxpayers. But you know what? We have a responsibility to students, faculty, and staff as well. Being an elected official does not allow us to do whatever we want. Being an elected official carries with it real responsibilities. Most importantly, the recognition that we are a corporate body. We act in the best interest of the system. One or two trustees are holding up the business of the system. Questions about contracts, bids, and how vendors are chosen are all good questions, but should be asked of the administration prior to board meetings. Agendas and backup materials are distributed to us well in advance of board meetings. That is when questions should be asked. Much of what I hear in questions regarding agenda items borders on abuse, attacks, bullyism, or veiled criticism while catching the administration off guard. There is nothing good to come from that. Rarely do questions appear to be fair, sincere, honest questions. In many cases, it appears to me to simply be a gotcha moment, which serves no purpose. I think the public elects us to carry out the business of the college system. Unless there is a conflict of interest, I believe trustees should vote yes or no. Abstaining from votes is the same as voting no. It does nothing but undermine the administration's hard work. As an example, there is no reason a contract renewal for pest control services should fail to pass. A majority of trustees voted in favor of the contract, but with 2 abstentions, 1 not present to vote, and 1 trustee position vacancy, the item failed to pass. I think that is just wrong. The administration and vendors should not be on pins and needles wondering if an agenda item will pass or not. Too much work goes into preparation. It is unfair to everyone and serves no purpose other than to make a protest statement. If the administration is not answering questions in advance of board meetings, I'd like to know about it. I also call on my fellow trustees to appear and participate in committee and board meetings in person. Even though the law allows us to participate remotely, we should show up in person. Our students show up, our faculty shows up, our administration shows up, and 6 trustees regularly show up. From this point on, I'm going to ignore the criticisms and comments, the innuendo, and anything unrelated to student success. That is what we should focus on. And let me explain as I wrap up. In reviewing the 2023 proposed budget report, I was reminded why I'm here and why I think we are all here. I'm going to read our core values on page 22. Excellence, learning, student success, access and affordability, accountability, community. On page 23, mission and vision. Our mission, Lone Star College provides comprehensive educational opportunities and programs to enrich lives. I believe they do that. Vision, Lone Star College will be a model college, globally recognized for achieving exceptional levels of success in student learning, student completion, gainful employment, equity, and affordability. I think we do that as well. Our guiding principles, access and equity, student learning and success, dignity and respect, community value, responsibility. And lastly, strategic priorities. This is what is supposed to guide us. Student success, excellence of student experience, structure of support for equitable student success, academic and workforce program quality, quality and relevance of curriculum, post Lone Star College achievement, financial responsibility and accounting, responsible stewardship, revenue expansion. Under culture, strengthen the LSC culture, strengthen the LSC community. Partnerships, partnerships with educational institutions, partnerships with community and industry. So while my message is long, it is heartfelt. In closing, I want to acknowledge the hard work that our faculty, staff, and administration do in this environment. I, for one, recognize and appreciate what you do. I suspect that most others do too. And to our students, let me say that you deserve a board of trustees that is razor focused on you and your success. This concludes my remarks. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Trustee Sullivan. Thank you, Mark.
Madam Chair, this is Trustee Pearson. Let me add a side note. Thank you, Trustee Sullivan, for those words, but let me remind us, I am an elected official and I'm proud of it. I will serve my constituents. I will serve Lone Star, but I will not be silenced on anything that I feel is not beneficial. Now, if we want to air all Lone Star's dirty laundry, we can do that. But Mr. Sullivan will not, his words will not deter me from my First Amendment rights, nor how I feel. I love these students. I've taught at Lone Star. I'm an educator over 40 years. The faculty, I'm with them. But I will continue to voice my concerns publicly. That's why I'm elected. I'm not a rubber stamper, and I never will be. I'm going to voice my concerns. I don't care who on the board doesn't like it. And Trustee Sullivan will not dictate to Trustee Pierce when, what, or where she will voice her opinions. Thank you.
Trustee Pierce, that's Trustee Sullivan's opinion. I think I made it very clear that everyone
And I
has
can
the
disagree,
opportunity to
and
voice
I
their
can
opinions.
disagree when two Black
I'm
women
not-
were being pointed
I'm not
out.
finished talking, Trustee Pierce.
Trustee Wilson, you're two Black
I'm
women.
not finished talking,
That's
Trustee
who
Pierce.
he
All
was
I say
talking
is that
about.
he did not specifically pinpoint or mention or said any names.
Well, we know
But
who he's
Thank
talking
you very
about.
much.
We know who he's
Trustee
talking
Pierce,
about.
for your participation.
He's talking about two Black women who's sitting on this
He
board.
pinpointed,
I will not,
he
I
pinpointed
will
when
not,
he said we
I will
questioned.
not have this type of participation
It's
in
not
this
about,
board
it's
meeting.
not, we
will not
have a
have
right
this.
to speak. He spoke. We have a right to defend ourselves if we have to. But when you pinpoint and you pinpoint how people vote, what was said in closed session, I mean, like in our closed meeting or whatever.
I just remind
You
everyone
can't, you
here, and I
no, you
apologize
can't
for
do
those who
that.
are
You
watching
cannot
us
do
in
that.
person and
And it's
online.
our right to vote how we want to vote. Like I said before.
Can I
we
just
are
mention,
responsible
and I've been
for
alerted by
voters.
our attorney that this is not under our agenda. Is this correct? Correct. Can you mention that?
Neither
please?
was his comments. Let's get this straight.
Yeah, so ma'am, I think,
Get it
I think,
together. Let's, if we're gonna move on, let's move on. But neither one
yeah,
of his comments. and we have a
I
right
think
to
you guys are
vote
off the
what he
agenda
said.
topic.
No, he was off topic.
So we are going to move on.
Let's move
I do
on
have an
before it goes
announcement
somewhere
to
y'all don't
mention.
want it to go. Let's
I have an
move
announcement
on
to
before it
mention.
goes somewhere y'all don't want it to go. Please, let's move on.
So the announcement I'm going to mention, it's very important. This is regarding the special board meeting back in October, in October 20th. So I'm going to say two things, but before I say this, one positive thing is I want to say congratulations to our social media folks. So who works on social media? Because I follow you guys on social media, and some of the memes and reels that you guys have are really, really nice. So thank you for that. So this is calling a public hearing for October 20th, and I have to say certain things to make sure that it's correct by the law. So I, Miriam Saldivar, call for a special board meeting to hold a public hearing on October 20th, 2022 at 2 p.m. And at the meeting, hold a vote to adopt the proposed maintenance and operations component of the ad valorem tax rate of 0.0737 per $100 of assessed valuation, and the interest and sinking component of the ad valorem tax rate of 0.0341 per 100 of assessed valuation of tax year 2022. This public hearing and vote will be held in the Training and Development Center Building Boardroom, 5000 Research Forest Drive, The Woodlands, Texas, 77381-4356, and via Zoom. The administration will ensure proper notice is published for the meeting. Is this correct, Mario? Said it correctly? Okay, thank you. So just a reminder, again, the public hearing for our tax rate is October 20th. And I highly encourage full participation of all of my colleagues for this particular meeting. Thank you.
The time?
October 20th at 2 p.m.
2 p.m. Okay, after our.
October 20th at 2 p.m. Here at the Research Forest. Okay. So now it's, the item is the consideration of the consent agenda. I hope everyone had the opportunity to review the consent agenda. There's going to be two items that will be withdrawn. Item number 8 and item number 14. Colleagues, do we have any additional items that you would like to review separately?
Madam
All right.
Chair, can I have
Trustee,
a point of,
yes.
can I have a point of order at this point, please? I'd like to ask a question. Melissa isn't here, but I think the chancellor said somebody was here in her place. Well, I'll
Yes, ma'am.
ask, okay, I'll ask you this. Now, in the consideration of the consent agenda, and this is about the consent agenda, it says that when there is unanimous, it has to have unanimous approval when we're dealing with the consent agenda, which will require no additional information or discussion. Now, I know what unanimous means, but in this particular case, what exactly does a unanimous approval mean with the consent agenda? Now, what does it mean?
It just means that if there's any item that a board member, individual board member would like taken off the consent agenda, you can request that it be considered separately. Otherwise, if there are no specific objections to a particular item being on the consent agenda, then they will be handled collectively.
Okay, so I'm looking at this. The purpose is to allow the board to identify and approve action items which require no additional information or discussion, which there's unanimous approval. All right, let's get to the unanimous approval. If, like the Madam Chair is saying, she pulled 2 items. Okay, we know that. So when she asked for the consideration to approve the rest of the consent agenda, this is where this unanimous approval comes in. Now, if someone is here like me who often abstains, or should I say, abstains from this, does that mean that it's still unanimous? That's where my confusion is coming. Does that mean that there is still a unanimous vote when a trustee abstains? If you don't know right offhand, I understand, because it's, I had a few legal people ask about it, but I'm asking you because it pertains to Lone Star. I just want to know what, in this case, if 7 of us are here and 1 or 2 abstain and 1 abstains, that's not saying yes when you abstain. You're not giving permission, yes. But I'm just saying, in this case, would that be a unanimous vote if you have 7 people and 1 abstain?
Trustee Pierce, I'll have Mario answer that real quick.
So
Is this on? There we go. So trustee Pierce, after the last month, I believe you abstained. We actually did do this legal research, and an abstention by itself does not affect the unanimity. But you did two things that are reflected, I think, in the video. One, you abstained, and then you said that you objected. And so it was unclear which of the two your position actually was. So an objection would ruin the unanimity, but that would be considered a nay vote, but a pure abstention by itself does not tarnish the unanimity.
Okay, I understand that. That's what, I mean, I can see that. I did research to that with it. Now, if an objection is there and a dissension from the board, then that means, what does that mean? That means that the entire consent agenda has to be, that you can't approve the rest of them if it's not unanimous, right? That you have
Correct,
to at
ma'am. That is
least-
my understanding. You would have to then segregate each action item and go one by
Okay,
one.
okay, exactly. Thank you, Mario. That's exactly what I thought. But I just wanted to make sure that I got it from the legal side. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for giving me the time to get this point across.
Thank you, trustee Pierce.
Ma'am, I would encourage you, if there are items that you don't want on the consent agenda, to just call those items out so they can be handled separately. But in the interest of the efficiency of the meeting, if you allow items to go on that consent agenda, I would encourage you to allow that consent vote to proceed unanimously. Again, that's just sort of a good practice as a board member to allow that efficiency to occur, and it's respectful of all the folks here.
Thank you for your comment, sir.
Okay, so may I have a motion and a second to adopt items 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, and 16.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and properly second. Those in favor, please vote aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, item passes. Thank you. Our next item is the financial reports. Jennifer?
Okay. Yes, good evening. Thank you very much, Board of Trustees. I have for you tonight the financial statements for month ended August 31st, 2022. So first, for our actual revenues as a percentage of the budget, as of August 31st, we had collected 395 million. And this is 98.3% of our budget. And I will note August 31st is the 12th month of our fiscal year. So this comprises the entirety of last fiscal year. So this will be the last month that I'm reporting on fiscal year 2022 in the monthly report. Next slide, please. On the expenditure side, and I'm going to even talk more about this some more in a couple of slides, but here, as of August 31st, we spent 344 million in actual expenditures, or 89.6% of our budget. And you can see this is a lower percentage of the adopted budget that we spent than was the case in prior years. Next slide, please. On the revenue side, to show the variances from the budget, here I'm summarizing the major revenue components. So first, for tuition and fees did come in about 3.5 million less than what we budgeted for. And that was reported throughout the year as we did experience a decline in credit hours. When we built the budget, we built it at a flat credit hours. So that decline in credit hours is the primary driver of that 3.5 million forecast decrease from budget. On taxes, I mean, that is really close there. You see we were off by about 300,000. The major items, product and service. So this is primarily our tenant lease revenues, and we did have about a $2 million negative variance there for tenant lease income coming in less than expected, still due to lingering COVID impact. And then finally, on miscellaneous revenue, this is primarily comprised of auxiliary income. So this is our bookstores, our cafeterias, vending, those items where we operate it more like a business type operation, which is why it's in the auxiliary funds. There we also saw a $1.6 million negative variance from the budget, and that is definitely saw a huge decline in these revenues during COVID, but that is also still a continuation of a decline that we were seeing even pre-COVID, just students not using our bookstores primarily as decreasing activity in that over time. If we could go to the next slide, please. So this is our forecasted variance on expenditures. And you can see the amounts by each particular area, full-time faculty, and so staff, other employee benefits, and on down the list. And in total, you'll see that we have a forecasted negative variance of 40 million, meaning we spent 40 million less than what we budgeted. Now here, I do want to caution though, people ask me all the time, what does this mean? And I have to say at this point in time, it honestly doesn't mean anything, because this is just our budget. I look forward to in December is when I will bring to the board a presentation on our full annual financial report. And the reason that's key here is, I mean, we budget a lot of the main operational things that people have to do every day, but there are significant expenses that are unbudgeted expenses. Examples are our depreciation expense. So that is the expense that we recognize every year on the decreased value of our buildings over time. We also have what's called GASB entries. So that's where we also recognize an expense related to our long-term pension liabilities. And we also have expenses related to, it's called other post-employment benefits, but that's primarily things like healthcare benefits. Again, benefits that we have promised employees in the long term. Every year, even if there is not necessarily a cash expense, we still recognize an expense for those items that affects our long-term liabilities. So all of those items are what's called post-closing entries, and that is what we are working through right now. The numbers you see here is from our soft close as we work towards our hard close and develop the annual financial report that we do bring to the Finance Committee and then bring to the full board at the December board meeting. So I did want to just report on that process that will occur from here. Next slide, please. So I had mentioned last month that for this month, I look forward to providing a more detailed update on where we are of Hurricane Harvey expenses and reimbursement. We are not done yet, but we are at a very exciting, close place. So total Harvey expenses, and I apologize for sounding overly excited because $52 million is not something to be excited for. But what is exciting is Harvey expenses totaled $51,784,655. In recovering funds for those expenses between our insurance, FEMA, and the state, we so far have received $50,738,650. So yes, that's the part I'm excited about, not the cost. But it took us, I don't want to count, is this 5 years to do this? And there is still some more anticipated funds that we're working through to get from FEMA. There's another 9 million still that we are expecting to receive. So that would total 59 million. And so from there, we had always told the state that the 13 million, anything we got in excess of the total cost would be returned to the state. So there, The state has told us that first we can use those funds, this excess amount of 8 million, we can use them towards a project at Kingwood that we're already working on, a construction project to protect the campus from future floods. Now that project should also be eligible for reimbursement from FEMA. But you all see even tonight how long of a process that is. So the state has said that we can hold on to this $8 million to help the upfront cost of this project until if and when we ultimately receive reimbursement from FEMA for that project. And then at that point in time, we will return this $8 million to the state. So that is my Harvey expense and reimbursement update. Thank you. And that concludes my report.
Jennifer, are we the only college who has done that or will do that? Return any funds to the state that you know of?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Just really good news. Thank you. Thank you, Jennifer.
And good news that in all total, we have been able to fully cover the expenses of Hurricane Harvey.
Yes,
We talked to a lot of people at the state to make sure it was okay that we could use the money as a continuation of our flood mitigation. And so we talked to the Lieutenant Governor's office, the Governor's office, our state senators, our state reps, just to see if anybody had any concerns about that. I mean, I didn't hear you say that FEMA had indicated to us if we didn't do something over at Kingwood, if it flooded again, they probably would not reimburse us. And so, and the floodplain is changing over there. What used to be in the 500-year floodplain is now in the 100-year floodplain. And so all the new construction is moving up and out of the floodplain or out of the 500-year floodplain. But a lot of it, the campus has just changed so much. We'll come back at one of the meetings and maybe show everybody, show the board, the other board members what that wall looks like, because we have some renderings now. So we know what it looks like. So we're working on the aesthetics of it so that it fits in with the campus. There are models. Kingwood High School is doing that, and the medical center has done something like that. So we're bringing back some diagrams and show you renderings. So
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Any questions, colleagues? All right, thank you, Jennifer. Our next item is the suggested future agenda items. This time I'll have my colleagues, if they have any future suggested items for next board meeting. So hearing none.
Madam Chair, hold on.
Yes,
Let me make a correction to the minutes. When I was speaking before, I said Trustee Stomer. I apologize. I did not mean Trustee Stomer. Let the record reflect that I meant Trustee Stomer. I just wanted to make that correction.
Okay, thank you, Trustee Pierce. So 6:14 p.m. and we adjourn this meeting. Thank you.